The Town of East Fishkill Planning Board meeting will now come to order. Could I have a roll call?
John Eichman.
Steve Caswell.
Michael O'Brien.
Lori G.
Craig Smith.
If everyone would join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have two upcoming meetings, one on July 18th, just a reminder that our normal meeting on July 4th, for obvious reasons, we won't be holding since it falls on a holiday, and one on August 1st. And I know we have approval of minutes here. I haven't had, I apologize to the group, I haven't had a chance to read through these yet, so I want to hold the minutes one more time. And I promise I will get through the three that are on the agenda this evening for our next meeting. So Pam, do we have everything we need to open the public hearing for the Colley lot line realignment?
Yes.
Thank you. So first item on our agenda is the public hearing for Colley on Bertocci Lane. Bertocci Lane, thank you. So do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So Mike, I think it's been a little while since we've seen this. If you don't mind just giving us a quick overview, and then
Sure. It's we have it obviously up on the screen, but I've colored up a copy in front of you because there's kind of a lot going on, so just for clarity. So effectively, the application before the board tonight is a lot line realignment. Mr. Colley owns these three parcels, which are an integral part of the application. We'll call them Lot A, B, and C for clarification. Lot A is the parcel outlined in yellow, which is 61.5 acres. Parcel B is the blue outline parcel, which is currently 3.0 acres, and parcel C, of which has an existing residence, okay, an existing home, which has been constructed up in the corner of the parcel, is 1.55 acres. It's the intent of Mr. Colley to sell the existing home. The existing home, once title search was done and so forth, there were a number of variances that were required based upon the existing residence and the setbacks and things such as that. A total of 19. So what we did is we made an application to the Zoning Board of Appeals and made a case to them relative to cleaning up those variances effectively. And the answer we had was, well, if there's property owned in the area, do what you can to try and lessen the variances through altering the lot lines, so we're not in a position where we have to provide all these area variances. So effectively, that's what created this application to the planning board. We are altering lot lines to lessen variances. Again, I believe the number was originally 19. By going through this iteration, we're going from 19 to 9 or 10. And I say that one of the variances is an existing above-ground pool. And if in fact, if we happen to get that, that's great. If not, then that variance may go away. But it significantly reduces the amount of variances that we're seeking for the property, is really what it comes down to. So, and in one manner, again, parcel C, which is outlined in red, the map on top is the existing conditions, down below is proposed conditions. We're going 1.55 to 3.00. The majority of the property is in the R3 zoning district. This is up on Stormville Mountain, Bertocci's Lane. There is a portion in the front that's actually within the B1 zone. But in a certain regard, we're actually making this more conforming by going through this iteration. So I think that's generally the proposal in a snapshot. So.
Okay. Questions or comments from board members? Okay. Michelle, do we have any comments we need to review from our professionals' letters? I know we don't have everybody here tonight, but.
No, I mean, we've been working with the applicant. The applicant came in with this really through the zoning board initially, and we discussed it at length and figured out that the best way to move forward was to ask them to increase or move some lot lines around so that we could reduce the number of variances that were needed on the property, because they do own the adjacent lots, and there was the ability to do that.
Okay. And these all remain buildable, even though they're kind of, the blue one's a very odd shape?
Well, the blue one also has structures on it, correct?
Yeah, I'm not, the structure of concern, which is the one that the applicant is looking to sell, resides on the parcel with the pink, but there are
Right.
other structures, so.
So they're already built out lots, so the blue lot already has a home on it, and then the yellow lot is, I don't know if you'll remember this application from a while ago, is the one where it's basically an estate lot. And I think there's already an existing house that they're modifying, is that what's going on right now?
For 99 Cross,
Yes.
Right.
we're building on 105. It's 105 now, that's the lot. But yes, we are in the process of building a home up there.
On the yellow lot? Okay.
The variance application does not, whatever variances that we need will comprise everything, so everything gets cleaned.
Okay.
And, if they have to come back in a few years, then shame on them how to deal with it. But that's what the intent of the application before the ZBA is right now.
But with the very large lot, there's no intent to do any further subdivisions at this time?
I don't-
No?
No.
Okay, thanks.
And I believe they're restricted from doing any further subdivision for a certain amount of time, because at the time.
That's
they-
why I'm asking.
yeah,
I just
yeah,
want to make sure we don't have any segmentation issues or anything.
in that lot.
All right. If there's no other comments, Scott, any comments from, here? Okay. So if there's no other questions or comments from the board, let's go ahead and open for public comment. Is there anyone who would like to offer public comment on the application? I know there's not a huge amount of us. No question?
I came in late, so I didn't know about.
Oh, that's okay. This is, Mike, if you want to just give a quick overview of where we are and,
This is, it's a Collie property. It actually has, the access for this property is off of Bertocci Lane, off of Route 52 up in Stormville on top of the mountain.
So he wants, it's subdivided.
we just, if you want to ask questions, we have to have you come up, I'm sorry, because we can't pick up your voice from the mic. Okay.
I'm on 31 Cross, so actually he purchased that property from us. So my question is, there's been a lot of work up there on the property that we can see from our property. And I know there's been a lot of building that's been going on up there because I hear the construction and all the work that's been going on. So my question is, what was the subdivision? How are they, how is he subdividing? Because I do know that there's properties there for sale as well.
Do you have other questions? Because we usually like to take, if you have other questions, we'll take all of them.
Just where it's being
Okay,
subdivided.
so what I need you to do, so if you would, I just need you to sign in so we can capture your name for our minutes. And there's a sign-in sheet. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Sure, so to be clear, there's 3 lots that exist now, and there'll be 3 lots, there's 3 lots now, and then there's 3 lots that exist after. I know it's kind of tough to see with the lighting and so forth, but the mapping that we have here, what we're doing is we're just shifting lot lines, but there's no proposed construction, new construction proposed as part of this application. Yeah, there's certainly, again, there's a new home being built, I guess, in the back and so forth, so that may have to do with the building that's going on
99.
99 Cross, but, in terms of this property, I'm not aware of any building that's going on any of these parcels
If you want
themselves.
to look at this
Yeah,
map
this is a
here,
clearer map here.
it shows you a little bit easier in the shading.
My question really is just with the subdivision,
Okay,
because just.
that's fine. Thank you.
I can get that on. My question is the subdivision that is now, has it been subdivided already, is my point? Like from 19B, from the property which was Bertocci, which the driveway has already been built that way, years ago? You understand what I'm saying? Like, is that already subdivided? It was just one property, was with the duplex on there and the shop. Okay, so that property there alone was 20-something acres, 29 acres, something like that, okay? So my question is, how was that subdivided? In terms of,
That's not a number we recognize, so
Yeah,
could-
is that a
where are we
parcel? If
talking?
you go to
I
this-
don't know,
Could
like, I
we-
just
could
know
we
from
get somebody to
Lightweight.
point
So
to the
if you,
map and
if you
show us
go
what
ahead
we're
and look at
talking
the
about?
map with Mike, if you would, and just see if you can find the parcel that you're talking about, and we'll see if it's part of
I'm at
this
31,
application.
and so Dean actually purchased it from us many years back. So it was only considered one parcel
Okay, so if you
with three,
just-
with three existing buildings on it.
Okay.
So I know that, I just wanted to know where the subdivision was. That was my big thing.
Okay,
Because, I mean,
so
I know
if
there's
you-
been a lot of
If you go ahead
building
and look,
going on.
Mike can show you on the inset map,
Okay.
hopefully you can find your property and then where this property is, you'll be able to see where the lot lines are
31?
today, and then you'll see what he's doing to change them.
Sure.
Live, because here's 52, and then here's coming in off across.
Well, I'm in 31, and I need to be like 3 to be able to read that tiny writing. So let me take that off. Where is, in terms of this?
So did you receive a letter about the public hearing?
I did not get a letter at all in the
Okay.
mail. I just have the posting, the signs are up,
Oh,
up and
okay.
down the street, so.
And I'm sorry, you used to own the land that's shown in these colors? And, I'm sorry, you sold?
We sold that property, 19B, C. It was there was a shop. I don't, like, I can't even tell you what this one.
But the property,
This is all foreign to me, but we had sold it to him years ago.
I'm sorry, that property that's outlined in the colors?
Not where Balaban was. I'm not sure if that is it, but 30, there was 31, there's a center property right here. That's what we sold to him.
Okay.
But it was just one parcel. It wasn't subdivided. So my question is that now subdivided? That's all I wanted to know,
Okay.
if that was subdivided.
I just think we're having trouble figuring out which parcel you
Yeah,
mean, and if
I
it's
mean, I
actually
don't
this
know.
application or not.
Is this 19, here, I'm right here. I'm Avellino. See, that's me, right there. Can't miss me up here and there.
so do you have
But if
frontage?
that's you, then you should have gotten a letter. 'cause
I
you-
did not get a letter. I got no letter, nothing. I have no idea. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
As I saw the
No, that's
signs,
fair.
so I don't know what's going on.
Well, we have on here a Neil,
Neil, correct, it's my husband.
31 Cross Road, so
Right.
that's the listing that we use relative to sending out mailings.
We did not get any letter. I certainly wouldn't make
So
that up.
Pam, do we have the receipts? Because they actually get sent certified, so we can give you the certified return receipt.
She'll check, because there's a couple attempts, and if they don't make it, then we'll have to
Yeah.
give a letter back.
All right, so.
But the property, that do you recognize, because you referenced a 20-acre parcel?
Right, which was like where he had where he redid the whole house in the back, which I think is considered 19C.
No, that's not Bertocci. She's,
It was, right, that was for Tachi, but whatever, yeah, I'm not sure.
Are we talking about,
understanding now what
It was
she's.
like- it was
so-
just
we
a simple
talking
question.
about the
I
same
didn't know
parcel
it got so
here?
crazy.
So we're talking about 9 Bertocci.
Right,
So
which
what-
is, you can go up to that
We're-
way, which is
yes.
how everybody goes up.
Correct, going
Right.
up through that.
'Cause
So that's what
there's-
we're
yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
So 19 that you're talking about that has the duplex and the
There's another
shop.
shed and a
Correct.
shop.
That already was subdivided.
Okay, that was my
That was done, that
question.
was already done.
That was the
We're talking about
question.
19 Bertocci right now. That's what we're talking about. 19 Bertocci has to add.
Adjoining to up the mountain.
Correct.
Okay, that was it.
Okay.
Look at how easy that was.
So are you
But
comfortable?
I would like to see the letter anyway. I would be very
Let's just have you come back to, yeah,
that.
Pam's looking for it now. Let's have you come back to the podium if you don't mind. So your question is answered. Was the parcel you were concerned about part of this?
No, I just wanted to know. It's
Okay.
utterly confusing, and of course, I didn't
Okay.
get any notification, which is why I'm
Okay.
here. So I
So
appreciate
we're
that. Thank
gonna,
you.
we have the letters, so
Great.
give us a moment, and
Yeah, if
we'll show it to you.
if it was, I certainly didn't, I wouldn't.
Looks like we got,
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
and it looks like we got them all back except for 2, so.
Okay.
She's going through it. I don't recall exactly, because there was quite a few property owners around the perimeter, so.
Okay. So while we're waiting, is there anyone else who wants to offer any comment? Okay.
It's a tough
And
act to
Michelle-
follow.
Michelle, we can put this on, we can close the public hearing tonight. I don't think there's anything outstanding from any comment letters or anything like that. Okay,
I
so,
move to close the public hearing.
let's just wait 1 second, because we need to make
She's
sure we
going-
have proper notice go out
I
to the
thought I
neighbor that's
saw the nod.
questioning, so we need
I
to,
saw the nod.
You saw,
we just
you
need to
didn't
give Pam
see
a
it.
minute.
Oh, yeah, you did, I'm sorry.
You found it?
Well, it was mailed,
Okay.
they were mailed.
Did we get the return?
No, that's,
The reason we need to do that is if the notices didn't go out properly, we can't close the public hearing.
So you have a couple of properties. You want a couple separate tax parcels?
We do.
Okay. So we do have three to
You can
Anil,
come on back up if you want to see what Mike's looking at, that's fine.
Avellino at 31 Cross Road, Holmes, New York.
Okay.
So it looks like they were mailed. We didn't have them back yet.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they may have, they may
Tried
have
to
attempted
deliver, left you
delivery,
notification
And not
or
get it,
something.
but we
yeah.
haven't got the letter back saying that we tried 3 times yet, but,
All right, Okay. I don't have anything, so I'll have to see.
Okay,
you blame the daughter.
all right. All right, so we have the proof of mailing. Pam, the mailings were all done in the proper time period?
Yes,
Okay. All right, so
and most of these were delivered May 31st.
delivered May 30, okay. Okay. So, Mike, I think you were
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
making a motion to close the public hearing. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and we would schedule this for decision, Mike, on July 18th, our next meeting. Again, we don't have a July 4th meeting, and we can't move them to Wednesdays anymore, so.
It doesn't hurt us because this is running parallel with the zoning board application. So now that we're here, I think we're comfortable enough now we can proceed with the zoning board, knowing that we're moving along here, so,
Okay.
okay, thank
All
you.
right, so we'll have you on back then in a month for the decision.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a minor modification to a site plan for Holiday Summer Homes amended site plan on Old Sylvan Lake Road. Michelle, did we have a form for this one, since it's a minor modification?
Yeah, but I didn't print it.
Okay,
But yeah,
can we, yeah,
I actually didn't,
that's fine,
sort of forgot that I got moved to this meeting.
okay.
Hi, good evening. Ernie Martin, KC Engineering, Poughkeepsie. I'm here tonight representing Holiday Summer Homes,
Okay,
which is a small seasonal community located on Old Sylvan Lake Road and Bogardus Lane. And about 2 years ago, they came to our firm, and they have 2 wells that currently serve that complex.
okay,
And one of the wells, the original well is still functioning fine, but a second well has had diminished production. So they asked us to go through the process with the health department to get health department approval on a new well to augment the supply. We went through, drilled a new well, did all the testing, did all the engineers' reports, submitted to the health department. We did get approval from them. And then the client came to us and said, well, we're going to need a building to put those different appurtenances in. Currently, the 2 wells are in pits below grade, and whatever limited tankage that they have is all below grade. So we had proposed a small 12 by 20 foot building shed above grade. At the time that we did that, and we were going through the health department approval, we had checked with the town building department to see whether we needed any site plan approval, and at that time, we were advised that we did not need site plan approval. Since that time, we did a plan for the pump building for the client. The client's contractor made application to the town to get a building permit, and they were advised we needed to get site plan approval. So that's the reason why I'm here tonight. Again,
if you don't mind, just orient us on the location of the building as it relates to the property. I see it as a driveway, I'm just not seeing how far it is from roads and potentially what would be on the surrounding area. Is that all the property, is it all surrounded by the property itself, or are there local lots?
There's actually parcels are actually on both sides of West Sylvan Lake Road.
Okay.
You have the Eastley parcel, which is just south of the tennis club. And then you have the parcel on the westerly side, which has the pool, for those that are familiar with that area.
Okay,
And the proposed well is on the parcel on the easterly side.
Okay.
this is the proposed building, and you can see some of the houses here. I'm going to show you a larger map, which I obtained today from from planning.
Is the required, that 100-foot required buffer for the well, is that entirely on this property? It doesn't overlap to any of the neighboring properties, right?
I believe it's totally on our property. So, again, Old Sylvan Lake Road, here's the tennis club.
Okay.
Here's the property across the street with the pool. And then there's a driveway, blacktop driveway that comes up that services all these different summer homes. And the well that's already been drilled and approved is located right over in this, kind of the south central part of the property. It's right, there's a ball field there now, a backstop in that. And the pump building would be about 60 to 70 feet off this driveway.
Okay.
Not that it's terribly relevant, but what happened to the old well? Just,
It just, you know, I think it's, in part, it's it just, about 2 years ago, it just was not producing.
okay.
And so they were relying all on one well. Now, the existing well is a very good well. I think it produces around 25 gallons a minute, if my memory's correct. But even if they had a mechanical problem with that well, they would have no water. So the idea was at least to have 2 wells, so at least augment the supply.
It's not like it
Okay.
got salt in it or something like
No,
that? Just- Okay.
No.
Ernest, can you tell me what the closest property boundary is to the structure?
Yeah, it looked like it was about 140 feet. There's an inset map that shows the radius with the property line.
Yeah, it's just kind of estimating about 150 feet, maybe more.
And that person is on the well line, right?
What's that?
And the neighbors are all on the well line.
There,
I mean, they're all using the water.
Well, these neighbors wouldn't be.
yeah, I think the
This is-
property to the
This is the
south
property boundary,
is,
those are the houses.
Okay.
So there might be,
The ones out
there'll
that
be
way, okay.
residential neighbors here, but he's 150 feet off his own
Yeah.
property line, so, or, sorry, 140 off his own property line.
the people to the south, that's the, was that the Griffin development? I think they're on Central Water.
Okay.
Sagamore? No, is it Sagamore? Is that the development?
One side is Sagamore, the other side is it looks like a cul-de-sac, I just can't see the name of the road. I can't remember the name of the road either. Okay. Scott, you've seen the building design, the 12 by 20 foot?
Not in any great detail, no. I'm looking for it.
I'm assuming you would, I mean, that's a standard size, no concern?
Yeah, and we had just asked, they try to match the architectural features of the bungalows
Okay.
in color and maybe siding.
It's a wood frame, white vinyl siding, black shingle roof, similar to what's there. I think all the cottages that are now there are all of that color.
Based on the zone, Michelle, does this require ARB approval?
Well, it's in a residential zone, but it's a, and so, the way it's written, no.
Okay. Okay, but you're gonna keep in character with the existing property as far
Yeah,
as
this
the
is
way
just,
you're...
it's a rectangular building, no windows, one door.
Okay,
You know, in the wintertime, typically they operate between, say, May 15th and October 15th.
okay,
Then it's shut down for the winter and winterized.
okay,
And this building is going to hold the chlorination equipment, and the pneumatic tanks.
okay. For both wells that will remain?
Yes.
Okay.
And one other thing. And we just took a look. Evidently, this was the last plan that was developed. It was actually a subdivision map way back in the day, I think the early 80s or late 70s. And we just went around the site to see have there been any changes. And the only thing I could find, all the cottages have not changed. Right down in here, there's like another small storage shed. I mean, it looks like 6 by 6. Other than that, what you see on this plan is what's there right now.
Okay, and you said where you're putting the building is a ball field currently?
Well, it's on the edge of what once was a ball field. Right now, it's just a grass field.
Okay, so it's not disturbing any
No.
recreation that's
No,
going on there
I don't
right
think.
now? Okay.
I mean, it might be an area for recreation. I'm not sure what that is, but as far as playing like softball.
But it's not stopping anyone from doing whatever they would be doing today? It's just going to be,
Exactly.
okay. Okay. So Michelle, this is, I'm sorry, does anybody else have other questions? or- yeah.
I just noticed on the site plan that the building actually shows as 12 by 19, so a minor discrepancy.
Okay, when we originally did our design with the health department, we just laid out something that would kind of fit. You know, at that point, we weren't into any detailed design of the building, and then as we actually designed the building and detailed it, we made it 12 by 20.
Okay. So that's something you can just update on this, on the final version of the map?
Well, I mean, if you like us to, the map that I gave you is actually the approved plan from the health department. So,
Michelle, does that cause any issues if we're making a change after the health department approval?
That plan shows what now? What does that show?
12 by 20.
That's the approved plan from the health department right there?
Approved plan from the health department.
No, it's the one that says 12 by 19.
And this says 12 by 19. You know, we
Now-
probably should have just said pump building, but we put a dimension there. But when we did the detail for the building department, we actually made it 12 by 20.
Okay.
We thought it's
So-
an economy of scale, that usually everything is in
Yeah,
4-foot increments.
exactly. Yeah, I don't know where 19 would come from.
Yeah.
So does that cause us any issues with the health department if we're changing the plan the health department approved?
Well, if they approve 19 and he's making it 20,
I mean,
it
it's,
works.
I mean, I don't think it makes any difference.
If he went the other way and he made it smaller, they might have an issue, but he's got an extra foot of elbow room inside the building. I don't think that's an issue.
So do we ask for a revised, I guess this is the copy that's already been signed, though, by the health department. So do we make a line item change on this or attach a note to it? What's the standard procedure if we're
I
changing?
don't think it's anything that significant. I really don't.
Okay.
If it went from, 19 to 30, different story, but, I mean,
I think it went smaller.
it could be the difference between
Well,
measuring inside the
I agree
walls
with
and
Ernie.
outside
If
the
we
walls.
hadn't put
a
any
foot,
dimension on it, it wouldn't even be an issue because we would have the inset, but it's just,
I think it's a big,
okay. Michelle, this is 12 by 20 building, small building on a very large property that has other buildings. It's a specific purpose building. Does this meet the conditions for a minor site plan modification that we can do by motion?
Yes, and it meets all required setbacks and is internal to the site, so not really visible from surrounding.
And it's no expanded use of the site, it's supporting the same use that's there today, and they're not intending to do any, right now, they're not intending to do any expansion of the use of the site. Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the 12 by 20 foot or 12 by 19 as shown in the map building for the, that's going to bother me. I like everything to line up.
approximately,
To approve the pump,
approximately,
what's that?
approximately.
The approximately,
There's medications for that, by the way.
yeah, I know. The 12 by 19 or 12 by 20 foot building for the additional well and the, do I call it a pump house?
A pump
station?
house.
Pump house. Pump house.
And the pump house
Pump
for
and
the
treatment, right? That's what it'd be, pump and treatment?
pump and treatment building for the Holiday Summer Homes amended site plan?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The motion carries. So you still need to proceed to the building department and gain your
Get a
building
building.
permits and things like that as you normally would, but you're all set with the site plan amendment.
We appreciate the quick response.
Sure.
I should say the owner does, because obviously they would like to get it in this year. So,
Okay,
Thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is actually a referral from our town board for a rezoning request for Stanley property on 89 Hosner Mountain Road. Yep.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Got it? Yeah, I'm
Oh,
good.
nice. Thank you. And Michelle, I know your memo had noted a couple of additional properties, so we can locate them on this map as well. Okay.
So this 1.72 acre parcel is on the east side of Taconic State Parkway. When they did the realignment a number of years ago, you go across the Taconic, and prior to hitting the mobile home park, when you come, you take a left, head toward the Moorgate Mobile Home Park. This property is actually on the left. It's got Taconic on the west, and it's got Hosner Mountain on, right?
And if I may, you'll remember this parcel, well, you remember this parcel specifically, but one right next to it, which was the application that came before the board for like an internet sales, storage, and potential outdoor flea market.
Okay,
Okay.
And a MAM Realty, I think it was called.
okay.
Yeah, I think there's been some historical, going back 10, 15 years, some applications before the board that particularly haven't got too far on this one. So Mr. Leonard Stanley purchased it a few years ago. What's been going on is he's a contractor, he's a paving contractor, and he's been storing some equipment on site and some other things, so, which is not permitted even within the B1 zone that it currently is. So they
Is
basically
he
said,
currently storing equipment there, or is he not storing?
I believe there's still equipment on site.
Where's the state trooper barracks?
To the south.
Yeah.
South.
If you cross over to Taconic, you take a left, and this property's on your left. You would take the right, and the barracks, the trooper barracks are on the right-hand side.
As you come over the bridge, yeah.
Barracks are to the right, as you head to Moorgate. This is on the left just before Moorgate.
Okay,
Where Moorgate's right across from the entrance to Moorgate.
okay.
Yeah. So yes, I believe there was still equipment on site, and basically the town kind of said, you can't do that. So some time went by, and they said another,
That kind of prompted him to do something,
Right.
which
Okay.
I think led him here, so.
right. Town sent another letter, said you can't do that, you know. Time went by, town sent him another letter and said, hey, by the way, what are we doing here? So that's why we're here. He had to reevaluate in terms of the property, what he can do with it. Even though it's 1.72 acres, it's actually, when you start taking a look at slopes and there's a setback requirement from the Taconic, it actually starts tightening up.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Is it buildable as a residence?
Well, in terms of soils and so forth, yeah. One of the things that he would likely have to do is proceed with some kind of a variance, depending on, and it would have to be a very site-specific variance, as I would see, based upon setback requirements and so forth. But I think at the end of the day, relative to the site as it currently exists and trying to buffer it from the Taconic, it's a pretty wooded site now. Out of all particular uses, it's probably best suited for residential. That would have the least impact on the property, so that's one of the reasons I think we're here as well, you know?
I thought there was once approved for an office of some sort.
There
but it-
was.
But it just never, it wasn't practical, it just didn't work.
And I think it was prior to the new regs being in effect with
Could be.
regards to
It
the
goes
setbacks.
back a number of years, yeah.
So, I
Because it's visible from the Taconic, it's going to be difficult for any structure to be built there that they're not going to want
It's
to.
really not a good commercial location.
However,
Agreed.
You're having trouble across the street, even with that other commercial building, they're having trouble there. It just doesn't seem to work. So, I mean, I agree that residential probably makes sense.
the only issue is if it doesn't meet the zoning requirements for a residential
House.
lot, we can't really,
In what sense, though?
We can't create,
the problem is there's a 100-foot setback from the Taconic, which puts you, I did it when I was on the GIS, but I don't know what other state constraints there may be, but it really limits the buildable area on the lot.
But I mean,
so would it be more like a front yard setback, you think, to keep it away from the Taconic? You wouldn't be trying to go into the 100-foot buffer?
I don't know,
do you have
'cause
a
I don't know.
sketch, do you have a sketch of the
that's-
site?
what happens is I have I have a survey at one point, I think, when they were proposing a commercial structure on it, but it doesn't reflect a residential, you know.
I will say this, across the street is the Mam Realty parcel, and then the other parcel that's zone B1 has got a single-family, or there's two others that have single-family residences on them. So even though they're zone B1, they're currently being used as residential parcels. And if you remember with Mam Realty, we had a bunch of folks that came out in the area that were concerned about any commercial use of that site. And the property owner has been concerned about the viability of that commercial property for a long time. He's having trouble renting it out. So in some ways, it does make sense to look at this entire area and consider possibly rezoning more than this property to R1, because it's either being used that way or it's not viable as a commercial property. So that's just a general comment. But as far as the parcel meeting the setbacks, do you have enough room do you have a building envelope?
What's the depth of the parcel from?
It's about 150 feet or something, right? Not even.
Just don't.
Right. Right.
So you have something that kind of, that you can see.
So what's the depth?
That's 86 from here to here, so you figure 100 is going to bring you here, that's 78, so it's.
Well, where's the 100 measured from?
It's from the property
Edge
boundary.
of property.
So he has to come out to like here.
Oh,
I mean, because there's 100 feet just from here to the property boundary.
It's measured from the boundary of the Taconic, the actual Taconic boundary, supposedly. but
Because of the width
I
of
thought it was the
But
property
even still,
boundary,
you
not the
got
road.
78 in the front, though.
It is.
Okay,
And it is.
okay.
This works, though, right? You got 86, you need 100.
So you have to go
That would
another
leave you
14
with-
feet, and then you have to,
And 50 off the front.
do you have the front?
Yeah, but you got 78 in the front right now.
So you get 50
What's-
plus 14.
Well, we have 50, we need 50 in the front and 100 on the rear. I'm thinking like Hosner's our front, because
Am
that's
I
where we
reading
gain
this right, though?
access.
You got 86 plus the 40 plus 78? Is that what you have for depth here?
No,
I wouldn't go, I know that this is 86,
Right,
to this line right
and this
here.
is 78.
right? And you're assuming this is roughly 40.
See, I didn't
So
catch that on
if we
So it
vote
seems like you
to-
have enough to make that
If we
work without
suggest to the
variance.
town that they rezone this, are we then suddenly accountable if it's not buildable?
We shouldn't make a residential lot that can't be built, so.
Well, okay,
We
so-
do have to answer
Thank you,
some of
that was the
the.
question was, is this really a prereq to any kind of
I
recommendation?
think we need to understand that if we're going to rezone it, that it can actually
I'm
be
missing
used. Or
something.
we're going to create a,
If you need
Some
100
of the
feet
other
here,
lots wouldn't have the same
That leaves you a
concern in
26-foot
this,
wide
in this red
structure.
area that's currently the
And you still
B1,
got
because they're
78 in
not
the front.
bordering the Taconic.
you only need 50.
The problem with anything bordering the
That's the
Taconic, you have a 100-foot setback from the property line that you can't develop, and you can't mow, you can't cut trees, you can't do anything with
that.
it.
He's not permitted.
That's just to preserve, I mean, it's
No,
considered a
his
scenic
alternative
byway.
would have put up a building
Oh, yeah.
and put his equipment inside the building, I believe. I think he could have done that.
Right.
But they're not asking for that.
They're not asking for that, they're asking for residential.
yeah, I mean, I don't,
And that side of Taconic is usually 3 acres, right? But this is only.
yeah, this one's only R1, and several of the parcels are. In fact, and then the farm there there's, some of the parcels
the
are
piece?
split
You
zoned,
familiar with this
right?
piece at
Is
all?
that correct? Like this parcel here? I was trying to figure that out. I think this parcel right here might be split zoned.
Which one are you looking at?
Well, when I looked on parcel access, this piece right next to the maize, yellow color, right here, seemed to be hooked into this parcel. This larger parcel didn't seem to be a separate parcel.
Oh, okay,
I think that's a split zoned parcel.
okay.
What is the larger
I mean, to me, it
thing, and I'm
seems
sorry,
like it would work.
that where the arrow sits? In other words, what is this piece of property?
That's a farm, the Whalens own that farm. I don't know what,
Okay.
that seemed to be the last name on the parcels,
And
Whalen.
Michelle, your note this afternoon that said you recommend the other, where, could you just point?
So, oh yeah, sure, I'll come over and show you guys.
No, you can just hold it up
It's
like you
pretty
did.
much,
and-
it's pretty much the pink parcels are
Okay.
all, they're all.
All B1,
B1.
Right.
Okay.
And.
but they aren't
and
conducive
they aren't
to
really
having a
being
business.
used as
Yeah.
B1, except for the one that we we're looking at, and I don't know if he ever did anything out there.
Once upon a
He
time, you
didn't,
got to
right?
keep in mind, right, before the bridge, wasn't there just, you could get off the Parkway right there?
Right.
You could, yeah.
Used to go right
Before the bridge. So maybe back then, maybe,
suicide.
maybe it might have made sense, some sense, but now that you have to
Well,
go
this
all the way to
process was
Hyatt's and
probably
in.
I agree. I mean, it's,
It's
it
locked out.
seems more suited to that. The problem is, I just don't know that we can create a lot that can't be built, so.
Well,
I'm not seeing the difficulty in meeting setbacks though, Mike. Or maybe I'm missing
What
something.
what if the recommendation, Michelle, was for that parcel to be like a half-zone residential? Does that reduce the front yard setback? So does that make it,
Oh, no, like no, because we don't even have that anymore.
okay,
We don't even have that zoning anymore.
okay. I was trying to, you wouldn't necessarily subdivide it, but it might give you the building envelope. Because I don't know that you're going to get the building envelope you need for it.
you don't have the luxury of the survey in front of you. I have an
Right.
old, and that building there, that was a commercial layout. That may have been done 15 years ago, so that
doesn't
should reflect
come
what's
with your-
proposed
your-
for a house. But
area, right?
the house
It's
does
still
get
considered
small,
part of your
but as
yard.
part of this, I don't know whether it's commercial, it stays B1, and a building gets proposed, or a residential home. Likely, there would be some kind of a variance required for the purposes of an area variance because of the configuration of the lot. Either way, doesn't matter. I think there's less prone, it would be less of a variance, and we haven't done a layout to actually see if you can get the house
But
on
you
it
wouldn't
without
try,
it.
you wouldn't be going for a variance to change the 100-foot setback from the Taconic. You'd be looking for a front yard variance.
We'd be looking for whatever made sense.
It has to be the front yard, you can't get a variance for the 100-foot.
You can't,
You can do the front, you can get that. Yeah.
okay. Whatever variance would be more
Can you create a lot knowing it needs a variance?
the ability to obtain. I mean, I guess, there's different options
Commercial
here,
building gonna need a variance?
No, because they don't have the
Oh, don't have the
setback.
setbacks at residential.
Right, yeah, that commercial building was supposed to be close, right
So-
up close to the road originally.
Mike, maybe what you could do is once you take a look at what the actual layout is, maybe we could sit and just talk about it on Friday. You're coming in on Friday on another application, and we
Okay.
can look at what the measurements are and see if it is something that's viable.
Right. I think the intent of the current owner was to be able to go out there and park some machinery and equipment outside.
He didn't understand the restrictions in a B1 zone. when
That's
he bought
right.
the property.
So he kind of, business, of course you can do that. And I think that, that's,
Okay,
Honest mistake.
it is what it is. And the town said,
But there's,
so he's trying to make the best of
I
what,
understand.
and, with the
I
guidance.
think that this board could recommend their position on this, point out all of these difficulties, and since it's going to be a legislative action by the town board, they perhaps could fashion a rezoning with the relief because of this peculiar shaped lot, and the fact that the lot was probably created as a result of the Taconic cutting off a larger parcel. So this is just a recommendation.
but I think if we can build it with current building code, that's what we should try to do. If we can meet the current setbacks and have an appropriate
Yeah,
lot, then.
because I think that's a good point. We're not, certainly, this has been referred by the town board. It's for a rezone application. We're here to get a referral from the planning, or, recommendation or referral to the board, and you'll state your concerns going back to the town board. Do we have to appear again, or based upon the dialogue that you've had tonight, can you?
No, but if you could do what Michelle suggested and just
And I could drop them on the
make
email.
sure we know whether or not it
Okay.
is buildable under current zoning requirements for an R1. And if it's not, and whatever the variances might be, let's just understand that so that our recommendation back to the town board could be specific about it.
Okay. That's fine, but also variances are also a function of the size of the home that's proposed. So again, I think it is tight. We can take a look and see what available area is there, but if we ended up with a 15 to 20-foot wide house, sometimes from a
You're not looking to build a
practical
Taj Mahal either, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But that's the point. If building a house that would be in keeping with that neighborhood won't work without a variance, we need to understand that, and then that can affect the way we write our recommendation back. I don't think anybody disagrees that the B1 use is probably not ideal for that parcel, again, with all the changes that have happened, and to Tom's point.
Right.
But I think we need to just understand exactly what it is so we can make the right recommendation back to the town board. And then I think what we would do is at our July 18th meeting, Michelle, maybe we put this on the agenda again, just to review whatever that is. And in the meantime, if the board has any suggestions or recommendations, Michelle, you usually draft up a recommended comment letter that we
Well, I
can
can
then send
draft
back.
up a comment letter for the July 18th meeting that you can
That'd be
review.
great.
Okay.
And that's normally what we do, is we'll send our comment letter back to the town board, and like Tom said,
Right.
it's a town board
understood.
action.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, anything else for this application, or anything else for this evening? Okay, then do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second, all in favor? Aye.
No, I'm under. Oh, you're, yeah, I'm under.